After the inversion, places of fertility and living water have been turned into places of the dead. This is exactly what the inversion does, is change places of fertility and life-enhancing water into somewhere where we cannot use it for the purpose that it originally was designed for. I truly believe, and I will be discussing in my book, which is due out very soon, that places like these, this is a place with 3 chapels. I'll show you very soon. Obviously now it's just the graves, plenty of yew trees. They always symbolise sacred sites, and they're always planted at sacred sites by our ancestors, and these trees will likely be the ancestors of the original yew trees that were here. Possibly some of these may even be original. They are very, very big. But this is the old drinking fountain, obviously no longer in use. But my true belief and the knowledge that I am gaining right now is that originally the sites of churches, so-called chapels, cathedrals and the like, were all places of fertility, e.g. living water, and places like this would have been growing energised crops. As you will see on the photo that I'm going to attach to this reel, this is the cathedral in Exeter, and this is an excavation of the bathhouse outside of it. Now, all cathedrals would have originally had a bathhouse outside. And this is just one example as evidence of proof, and I'm going to be discussing this at depth in my book. But all cathedrals, you can see where the cavity magnetron, the cymatics and the sound have been vibrating the water outside of the structure. So obviously all bathhouses and spas and hydros have been filled in, covered in tarmac and then turned into religious purposes. So a bit of a disclaimer here, nothing against religion, but churches, cathedrals, chapels, priories and abbeys have nothing to do with religion. It was all fake, all fabricated, and all part of his story to overlay and invert the feminine water, the essence of the fertility. So where I am now, there's 3 chapels behind me, so we've got 1, 2, 3. Do you really think that they'll be building 3 chapels in one place for religion? No, all these chapels would have spring water going through them, as I have seen with chapels in Cornwall where the spring water is flowing through the structures. Here we've got 1 so-called chapel, 2 and 3. Now originally spring water would be travelling through these structures, so they would have been using the energy of the lay of the land, because this is on a lay, as are springs always, because the feminine is the springs, the masculine is the lays. They follow each other. This is a potent earth energy site. They would have been utilising a lot of this area, maybe not all, but some for crops, and then the rest. They've got a old hydro over there, a hydropathic establishment, which is now a Buddhist monastery. I've done that on one of my other videos. There would have been a lot more they would have been doing with this site, including praying with the waters. Got another drinking fountain right there, you can see that's been turned into a tomb. So obviously they put the tombs here to stop us utilising this land.
The lay of the land, hey? The L-E-Y of the land. That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that one before. And yeah, like the graveyards, right? Bit grave, but hallowed ground. That's an interesting point, right? They put graves in and then you can't touch the ground because it's hallowed, right? Sacred. So what do you think? All, churches, chapels, cathedrals for energizing water, right? For structuring water, because we know about the sound, the bells, the cymatic windows, all this stuff that's built into these buildings. Is that to structure water? Is it for both? Is it to create an energy, a healing energy inside them, but also to structure the water? Because there was definitely, massive waterways everywhere as far as the drinking fountains, right? They were all over the place, and most of them these days have been locked up, so you can't use them. I was in Venice a few years ago and they had them all over the place, but they were all locked. They were these big metal lids locked down to the top of them. How you'd get fresh water from Venice, that's a whole nother question, right? But it's interesting. So yeah, let me know. What do you think? Are these buildings for structuring water more than for healing centers, or are they both? What do you think is going on here? Because definitely structured water, living water, is very healing. So it's the same kind of thing. And I've definitely seen under a lot of these old, buildings, cathedrals, chapels, etc., big vats of water underneath them. I've definitely seen that on more than one occasion, that they were storing water underneath these buildings. And again, is that to structure it? And then it gets sent out to the fountains and, like you said, on the crops, right, to grow energized crops, etc. Let me know your thoughts.
Did the Pentagon hide that the human body can regenerate itself in under 48 hours for 61 years? Insiders claim that in 1965, a classified research program inside the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, aka DARPA, confirmed something that would destroy the entire pharmaceutical industry overnight. Human tissue, including nerve cells, organ tissue, and spinal cord fibers, can fully regenerate when exposed to a precise electromagnetic frequency window between 7.83 Hertz and the 14.1 Hertz. The project was codenamed Operation Lazarus. They tested it on 214 soldiers with catastrophic battlefield injuries, burns, severe tendons, and shattered vertebrae. 94% of subjects showed complete tissue regeneration within 36 to 48 hours. Bone fractures healed in 4 days instead of 6 weeks. Nerve damage previously considered permanent reversed entirely, and 2 paraplegic soldiers regained full mobility within 11 days. The lead scientist, Dr. Robert O. Becker, later published fragments of this research in his book, The Body Electric, and of course was immediately stripped of all federal funding, blacklisted from every university, and erased from medical history. Here is what they classified. Your DNA would then not be a fixed code, but a receiver. Every strand of your DNA operates as an antenna. It receives and transmits electromagnetic information. When your body is exposed to the correct frequency, your DNA activates repair sequences that mainstream medicine says are impossible. The 7.83 Hertz, aka the Schumann resonance, which is the Earth's electromagnetic resonance, activates stem cell production. 10.5 Hertz triggers full body cellular regeneration, and the 14.1 Hertz repairs neurological damage and restores synaptic connections. Your body was designed to heal itself. They just turned off the signal. Why? Well, maybe because a cured patient is a customer lost. Remember, the global pharmaceutical industry generates $1.48 trillion every year. Every dollar depends on just one lie, that the human body cannot heal itself without chemical intervention with pills that create side effects. In other words, new diseases. If true, Operation Lazarus would then prove that this is false, already back in 1965. The claim is that this is not just a theory, but documented Pentagon research. Of course, Google or AI won't budge on this one. So, you let me know what you think. Could frequency healing be the future of medicine? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget who loves you, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Yes, well, could it be the future? I would say yes, and I would say it's also the past, right? This is what they're trying to keep hidden from us because Big Pharma, right? They want customers for life. So like you said, they don't want us to heal ourselves. They want us to be on their pills, their petroleum pills for the rest of our lives, getting sicker and sicker so they can put us on more pills. But now the work of Royal Rife, most of you would have heard of the Rife machine, the Rife frequency machine, and there's definitely other people in the past, other healers who have come up with this, but Royal Raymond Rife, he same thing, right? He sort of proved that frequency will heal all dis-ease, and yeah, all his work was basically trash. I think he was thrown in jail and yeah, basically destroyed, right? Taken out, not being able to practice, all this kind of stuff, blackballed, blacklisted. And like I said, he's not the only one. So what do you think? Have you tried any frequency machines? I know there's quite a few out there you can get now, like Spooky 2. I've had a bit of a play with that. And other, you know, there's like, you can get the little ones now they're selling, just like little frequency generators. They're pretty cheap. You can get them for like $10, $12, I think. So have you had a go, and what were the results, and what do you think's really going on here? Do you think this is the cover up, that we're all energy, right? We're all frequency, basically sound and movement. And so if that's what we are, you know, at our base level, then if you heal that first, then that goes through and heals the physical, right? But of course we're taught that no, it's all physical and you've got to heal the physical first, and the rest doesn't even exist, right? So what's your experience? What do you think? Are we frequency and that's the way we heal ourselves? Or should we keep relying on Big Pharma?
If you want to stay human, you should probably watch this reel to the very end. Maroochydore is a smart city. If you don't know where Maroochydore is, it's a town on the Sunshine Coast. I went for a drive through Maroochydore the other day, and it was fucking a little bit intense. There was cameras on every single light. Talking of tiny little cameras down this one street, I think it was this place called Ocean Street. They were watching everything. The cameras were on the posts, the cameras were on the corners of the buildings. There was more cameras in that one location than I've ever seen in my fucking life. And they're about to build an AI data center in Maroochydore. And if you don't believe me, Google Maroochydore Smart City Plan. So yeah, Maroochydore is a smart city. I'd get out of Maroochydore if you don't want to be part of that whole fucking system. We've got to get out of these places because it's the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies. You're going to be assimilated into that area. It's going to be really hard to coexist with all of that situation. It's a bit gnarly actually. It's a bit fair income, and I'm not here for it. And I reckon get away from the smart cities if you want to have a healthy, good life. 6G's coming soon, and that's going to bring another virus, right? Because viruses don't exist, and people have non-native electromagnetic frequency sickness, and they have a placebo effect where they tell each other there's a massive sickness. The news tells them there's a massive sickness. They start believing there's a big sickness, and then they catch sickness, right? So that's the way things work. This is dark magic. Don't go to the smart cities. 2030 agenda is a real fucking thing. Try and stay away from it if you can. And yeah, navigate this apocalypse with a little bit more consciousness and do your best. And that's all you really can do. Enjoy your time here. Enjoy your time with your family. Enjoy your time with nature. And just don't get jabbed up, because that's going to change your genetic code and you'll no longer be a human. All right. See ya.
Yes, definitely don't get jabberwockied up. I think we all know that by now. But Maroochydore, that is about 30 minutes from where I live, so that's not good. I've definitely heard that before, that it's a smart city. Haven't heard about the data center before, which is not good, right? But yeah, I mean, what's the option? We just got to stay out of these places, get back into nature, like you said, get around friends, get back in the 3D world and ignore all their crap, right? Because we know what they're trying to do, right? They want us to be in the 15-minute cities. They want total control, total surveillance. And of course, they want us to own nothing and be happy.
Do you remember in the movie The Terminator, Sarah Connor was thrown into an insane asylum for destroying data centers that were owned by Skynet, because she knew that her son in the future was fighting a war that was waged against the people by an oligarch, demonic, technocratic, feudalist state, Skynet. And she knew that she had to destroy the data centers now so to avoid that horrible technocratic demon state future that was owned by Skynet. Yeah.
Well, it's been a few years since I've seen the Terminator or Terminator 2. I don't remember that it was data centers, but that's interesting, right? Truth in movies, they always tell us these things. And obviously Terminator, that was the war against the machines and AI, and now we have data centers popping up everywhere. But I just had this thought, is that because they talked about her being thrown into an insane asylum, and we know about the insane asylums all across the realm from the old world that they were locking people up in. Was there some kind of data center back then? Were they trying to bring in another kind of dystopian technology in the past, pre-reset? And people against it is that we're getting locked up in the insane asylums. I don't know. Bit of a thought there. What do you think? But I think they've definitely put this out in movies. And again, I just think it's predictive programming. They put out the script that they want us to believe, right? That AI is going to take over, that, it's going to subdue humanity and we're going to live in this dystopian world fighting the machine overlords. That's what they want. Of course, I don't think they're going to get it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that one.
The data centers are the power stations for the underground bunkers for the elite, and they're not using water to cool the data centers. They're just diverting the water to the underground city so that they have it.
Well, there's another perspective. What do you think about that one? There's a lot of question about what are these data centers really for? Now, why would they be putting trillions of dollars into these data centers for AI, but they haven't even sorted AI out? AI is clearly not working properly. And clearly, like in 5 years, when these centers are finished, they're going to be outdated already, right? Because AI is going to move so quickly. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. So what do you think? Are they actually energy stations to run the underground cities and divert all the water down there? I mean, interesting thought, right?
Well, here's my question. Where do we go from here? We know the entire system's fake. All the world leaders are puppets. We've been lied to from all angles pretty much our whole lives. Whoever's really in charge is evil, like really evil, like sacrificing kids evil. Aliens, UFOs, and reptilians are real. Vaccines that are supposed to help you are actually made to kill you. Organic food at the grocery store is toxic. Our air is sprayed with the chemtrail poisons that pollute the rain. Voting doesn't matter. Hell, cash is printed out of thin air. Sugary soda refills at the restaurant are free, but healthcare isn't. Which leaves us with the only conspiracy left. That's the glittery mystic people on the other side of Antarctica living in the Earth. That makes the Earth flat and the moon is a mirror and space is fake. But no time for figuring all that shit out because Big BB needs your tax dollars and your bills are due and you're late to work. Your people are armed, but they're all spread out. They're pissed off, too busy and broke to leave their little bubble. And be sure not to do anything or say anything crazy because they are watching and listening. Just because they get away with everything don't mean you can. If you call any of that out or crash out, you're crazy and painted to be the bad guy. They'll send a damn pigeon drone after you or blackmail you. And to top it all off, all of the good people are fighting against each other and hating each other. We are all in this retarded shit show circus together. Like, what the flying fuck is...
Yes, well, what the flying is going on. I don't know about the aliens, because that was on the news, right? So definitely got to question that narrative. And I don't believe in space aliens, but, outer realms, hidden lands, underwater, there's definitely a lot of scope, right, for beings that aren't us being here. And clearly, the parasites are not us, right? Clearly. But what do we do? Like everything you said is true, right? They're still trying to wipe us out. And of course, Billy Goat, Mr. Gates has told us many times that that's what he wants to do. And other people have as well, right? From the UN and the WHO and all this, they always say they want to reduce the population and increase vaccines and all of this stuff, all for our health, of course. But I mean, my perspective is we're still in the invasion. We're still being invaded. Right, it's just taking a while. They've come in, they've destroyed the old world, the old infrastructure, replaced it with their closed electric circuit, the L circuit, where the old system was a macro circuit, right, run on earth energies. This is a micro circuit that they've introduced, a closed circuit, the L, the Jin, all this kind of stuff. And of course, that's why they're still trying to wipe us out. It's the invasion. This is why all the food, everything, right? The air, the water, they're trying to poison it all. Start when we're babies, right? With, the jabby wabbies that have, just so much poison in them. So they start us off badly. But what's the solution? Definitely, we've got to stop fighting with each other and realize who the enemy is. But, really, I think the ultimate way out of this is we've all got to join together and just say no, right? But we've definitely got to start now building new infrastructure, new ways of doing things that don't rely on the system. And there's a lot of, like we heard, like the healing technologies coming out. There's a lot of free energy out there if you look for it, free energy machines, ways of growing like electroculture. We've got all the answers. We just need to get out there. And I think one of the biggest things is people feel they have to rely on the system because that's all they've ever known. That's what they've been taught. And so it's scary to leave that, right, and go out and do something different. People think, how will I survive? How will I look after my family? All this. But, I think our biggest power is ourselves and belief and intention. And if we stand in that power and belief and we go out and do things, then I think it will end up pretty good, right? Because fear is the ultimate emotion that keeps us stuck, stops us moving forward. So got to get rid of the fear, right? False evidence appearing real.
While everyone's distracted by the World Cup, something strange just happened. They just shut down the CERN Collider, which has been operating since September 2008. Do you know what else happened in September 2008? The biggest financial meltdown of the 21st century. The last time they shut down the collider was 2018, just weeks before the entire world went into lockdown. Right now, we are sitting at almost identical market levels that we were in September 2008. The man from The Big Short that predicted the 2008 financial crash just posted today, "The end is near for the stock market." The collider is shut down for the next 4 years for a major upgrade opening in 2030. How convenient. Agenda 2030, digital IDs, digital currencies, global surveillance states, 15-minute cities, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Yes, well, that's interesting. The crash, everyone's been talking about the financial crash for a while now. Is this part of it? They like to work in cycles, right? Their script is a cycle and they just keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? Because they have no imagination. They can't create things. They need us to do that. And this could just be fear again put out, but it's interesting they've shut CERN down. There's videos out there saying people are seeing things that, like the Mandela effect, has been reversed. Like all these things that were changed have gone back to normal. I don't know if that's true. It's hard to check that. I haven't seen any myself, but it's interesting. What is this shutdown to do? And it's interesting that it starts up again in 2030, right? Agenda 2030. All heard of that, like he said, like Klaus said, we'll be happy and we'll own nothing. So what do you think this is all about? Do you think CERN is about, manipulating some kind of time, space kind of thing? Is it switching timelines again? Or is it, and is it all just fake? It could be, right? Just to induce fear and to make us believe that things are going to crash, because of course, when the majority believes that, we create it.
If you've never witnessed a false awakening, welcome to the show. What's happening right now is exactly that. And here's what you'll see, is they're going to release all this information. Everyone's going to act like we have it all. We all know the truth now. It's all here. We know it. We're all good. We've got it all figured out. Then what you're going to find out is that most of that stuff has just been planted and pushed. We know they control the media. We know they control the algorithms. What shows up on the algorithms for sure is what they want you to see. There are no cracks. There are no, finally they're letting it. There's none of that. Those theories about why they're mass producing information, those are false flag. Those aren't real. They control the information they always have, and if they're showing you it, it's because they want you to see it. So look the other way and find what they aren't showing you.
Yes, well, they do control the information. I guess the question is, do they have total control? Because some stuff does seem to get out, but is that because they want it to get out and they want us to believe stuff? They're definitely pushing, conspiracy theories at the moment. They're everywhere. But that means they want us to believe it, right? Because there's so much of it out there being pushed in algorithms and stuff. They want us to see that stuff. Why is that? I mean, probably to create division between, ourselves, to create fear. And basically it's anything to distract us so that we're not looking in the other direction, right? We're not looking behind the scenes to see what's really going on. So we know the whole data centers, going up. What they're for, I don't know. AI is being pushed. They're messing with the stock markets, all this stuff. But you won't see a lot of that in your algorithm, right? So what is the plan here? Why do they want us watching all this stuff? Let me know your thoughts.
In all honesty, my dude, the only solution that I have found to having your awakening and not flying away and not going fucking crazy is literally, you gotta dance with the Matrix. You have to look it in the eyes and say, what, bro? You wanna come at me? I am infinite consciousness experiencing a human avatar with a limited perspective of the ego, but I am a channel for God's infinite potential and creative stuff. You want to have fun with the Matrix? You got to stop resisting it. You got to stop demonizing it. You got to stop looking at it as if it is this entity that is out to get you and that is so dark and that is so full of shit. Like, I get it. It kind of is. But like, go to the grocery store and have fun and laugh at all of these processed foods that are designed for freaking ass cracks. You got to make it funny at some point. Because if you don't laugh, if you don't get some type of endorphin out of it, I really don't know where you think you're going. Like, what can you actually do that there are reptilian overlords, if that's even still a thing? I'm starting to question everything I've ever known. Like, that's the problem. I'm always questioning everything. What if it's not reptilians? What if it's something else? What if, I don't know. But let's go with the reptilian thing. Let's say it's the reptilian overlord controlling everything. What are you gonna do about it? You think that your singular individual awakening is gonna do anything just by you getting pissed off at the Matrix and no longer buying processed foods? No, that's the first step. But there are multiple steps to this process if you want to collectively shift the frequency of the collective. Not only can you stop partaking in the activities of the Matrix that contribute to a lower state of consciousness, but you actually have to do something that is calling you within your soul. So like, yeah, go off grid all you want, dude. But I genuinely think that's not the answer. Like, we need help out here. Bring in the brigades! I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, well, I agree. Fear doesn't get us anywhere. And, you know, this is what they want us to believe, right? That it's helpless, that we can't do anything, that we're stuck, that they definitely control everything. And the reason is because we create everything. If we believe that, that's what we do. We create what they want to happen, their future, right? Their outcome. And that's why everything's so scripted. They just want us to create the world that they're trying to create. And, you know, basically, you know, give up, really. I mean, I said it before, that the easiest way to win a war or an invasion is to make your enemy give up, right? Spread the fear, spread the, you know, the hopelessness. So people, you know, literally think there's no way out. And in the end, they just think it's easier to submit. But I think, yeah, it's a game. And in the end, you know, the earth can't be here without us because we're the ones creating it, right? And this is not the be all and end all. Just a little part of our extended life. So there's no reason to be scared, really. I think, yeah, have fun with it. Moving off grid and all this kind of stuff too, I kind of agree because, you know, it's taking yourself away from everyone else. I think we've got to come together. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out there and into the country and grow crops and all that kind of stuff. It's just, you know, moving off grid by yourself and sort of taking yourself away from society. Don't think that's going to help. I think we need to come together more than that. But it is a big question, and I'm still waiting for the brigade to come in, right? But what do you think the answer is? How do we get out of this conundrum we found ourselves in?
After I read this to you, you will literally be forced, like you will be shaken out of your sleep. But it's going to be so intense and so in your face that you are literally going to want to go back to sleep at this point. So literally proceed with caution. Let's read this. This is the Masonic Creed written by John D. Rockefeller. If you don't know who the Rockefellers are, the Rothschilds, all of the top richest families, John D. Rockefeller founded the General Board of Education, the education that we learn, the education that is programming us. Listen to this. We will keep their lives short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways, mind you, this was written in the 1800s, so that they never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water, as well as in the air. They will be covered in poisons wherever they turn. The soft metals will make them lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure for our many funds, and yet we will give them more poison. Chemical poisons will be absorbed through the skin of idiots who believe these certain hygiene and beauty products presented by great actors and musicians will bring eternal youth to their faces and bodies. And through their thirsty and hungry mouths, we will destroy their minds and systems of internal organs reproduction. However, their children will be born disabled and deformed, and we will hide this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything around them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, wear. We will be ingenious in distributing the poisons because this is so long. This is so long and there's so much here. I could literally make a part 2 reading the rest of the creed. I want to read you guys 2 quotes from John D. Rockefeller himself. Like, to get into his father and his family lineage is a whole other thing. It's crazy. When they rise up against us, we will crush them like insects because they are less than that. They will be helpless to do nothing or to do anything about it. The second one is I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. He's in charge. He founded the Board of Education, right? Training us to be little freaking worker bots, training us to live in this stage that they created. Let me tell you something. Y'all ask me how I know all this stuff and like I don't live in a state of fear, because all roads lead back to Jesus every single freaking time, and I can prove it every single freaking time. God does not give me a spirit of fear. I am free. I am free. Whom the sun sets free is free indeed. That's what, honey. Like, we already knew this, but when we said this, it was religious psychosis. Now it's in the files and everybody's figuring out they're literally controlling our minds with technology. Like, it's been a stage. Always, y'all, make sure you like and follow. Comment down below if you want that part 2.
Well, yeah, J.D. Rockefeller, he also started the modern medical system, basically as a way to make money off the leftovers from his oil companies. He also took out all the trams, right, and replaced them with buses. But I mean, this is who they are. I don't know what they are. They're not us. They're psychos. But again, the answer is us, right? We need discernment. We need to make sure we're getting good food and good water and not buying the fear, because that's the main thing. They clearly don't think of us as their equals. We're the goyim, right? Because they are small hat families, not the true small hats. They're the Ashkenazi Jews. So, yeah, but they've done a good job up till now. But I think, again, they think they've got all this power, but they only do if we comply and if we stay stupid. So knowledge, right? Knowledge is freedom, right? Self-education is the way forward. So again, it looks dark, but it's always darkest before the dawn, right? So, we could also look at this as a way of waking us up, because it's giving us something to fight against, right? It's giving us the message of what not to do, what we don't want, which helps us understand what we do want and to create that. That's what I think. And as far as Jesus, the answer, well, I don't know about that. All roads lead to Rome, right? The Roman Catholic Church, with the Pope with his fish hat on of the Dagon, and basically all set up by the same people, the small hats. So, that's what I think about that. But let me know what your thoughts on all that video is and all these videos, because we have come to the end.